The new FZ25 is here. For over a decade, the FZ series has been very popular on the streets of India, inspiring riders from all across the country. 12 years later, the iconic FZ is geared up to push the limits even further as the all-new FZ25 with BS6 compliant engine. First, let's talk about the design. The new FZ25 gets fresh elements like the new face, which is more aggressive than the previous one, gets a bifunctional LED light with high and low beam, and the boomerang shaped LED DRL complementing it. It gets a visor that is extended from the DRL to the instrument cluster, giving it a meaner look. The bike gets an engine cowl that makes it edgier looking. The tank shroud is much more pronounced than before, adding the muscle to the already bigger tank unit, and has subtle changes here and there. Other than that, there are no major changes as it retains most from its predecessor. It is proper street fighter that has all the muscle that you want and even enhance the overall look because of the new headlight. The instrument cluster is a negative LCD unit that provides basic info like speedometer, odometer, trip meter, fuel gauge. Additionally, it gets a clock, fuel consumption indicator and ABS indicator. I wish it get a gear position indicator and a slightly bigger display, which can be really useful. The switchgear quality is average and overall the build quality is good enough. The new FZ gets two variants. This is the FZ variant that gets two colors. The one you're seeing is the racing blue color and also gets the metallic black. You also get the S variant, which will be featured in another video. Now let's talk about the engine. The bike gets a 249cc air-cooled fuel-injected motor that makes 20.8 PS of power and 20.1 Nm of peak torque, which is not much different from the BS4 variant, mated to a 5-speed gearbox. The engine is responsive and has the bigger cc push in it. This engine is very much tractable and impressive at lower speeds. We have ridden the bike at as low as 5 km per hour and still there is no jerkiness, even runs smooth. It is excellent in traffic conditions with no hassles to shift the gears. Now, with the new BS6 norms, you need to maintain at least 2 liters of petrol at any cost, as anything below will cause problems in the fuel injection system and you will notice hiccups while giving the throttle. The gear shifts are crisp and accurate with the clutch being slightly on heavier side. Now getting into the neutral is kind of tricky at times. You shift the gear and there is no gear position indicator given so that at least you can see. Shift the gear and notice the punch while revving as the bike is quick to accelerate, and the best part of the engine is it has strong mid-range performance. You will be easily maintaining speeds like 90 to 100 without any problems as it gets a 14-liter fuel tank capacity. So you will have less fuel stops on the run. The bike is very much happy in the low and mid range, and if you rev it hard, you will notice some hesitation overall. The refinement is really up to the mark as there are no such vibrations and heating that we have noticed. Even with the pillion, there are no delay in acceleration and you will be happy with this new engine. You also get a side stand engine cutoff function if the bike is in the gear. Now let's talk about the handling. The bike, although looks quite big and muscular, is quite light at 153 kilos and is easily manageable. There is no doubt in this that the bike is a good handler, may it be bad roads or straight and even in the corners. The chassis, which is a diamond type frame, gives you enough confidence to do so. The seat height is 795 mm, which will be most accessible by all sorts of heighted riders, and I am 5'11" and very comfortable on the saddle as the seat is quite wide and big for the rider and the pillion. With the split seat setup, both have ample amount of space to move around a bit. The grab rails are very much useful and are correctly placed. The seating position is upright, just slightly leaning posture with wide handlebar and the foot pegs positioned well. The bike also gets a lean angle sensor with it. If the bike falls on the ground, the engine cuts off immediately on its own. And if you want to start the engine, what you need to do is you need to restart it just after a few seconds and the bike will be ready to move. Now, all this because of the suspension setup. It has nothing special. It carries the same 41 mm front forks and a 7-step adjustable monoshock at rear. And they are tuned to keep in mind of Indian roads. as they soak up most of the bumps very well and can do some off-roading stuff also. You can have a look how we tried some muddy and bad roads and the bike handled it pretty well without any hassle. Even the bigger potholes can be dealt with ease. With 160mm ground clearance, and you will get good stability on the roads and highways with higher speeds. So all in all, it will serve you in all type of conditions. Now coming on to the tires, you get a 17-inch rims with 100 section front and 140 section rear. Now these are MRF Nilo Grip Zapper tubeless tires. The tires provide you ample grip and you will have no complaint. We even tried some off-roading and on the mud. The tires provide enough traction in gripping the surface and has no problem at all. Even taking corners is also easy with them. Now you also get a 282mm disc at front and a 220mm disc at rear paired with dual channel ABS, which activates once you cross 20 speed. Because of the ABS, you get great confidence in braking as there will be no wheel locking. I like the ABS integration at this intervene only when you required it. Now the bite from the front brake could have been better and you could completely trust it in the hard braking conditions. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. The first pro of this is it gets the design right with good amount of muscle and sportiness, and the new headlamp which also gets pretty meaner. Second, the LED headlamp and the DRL look pretty well and they do the job well. Third, the dual channel ABS which can be life saving at times and you can do some really hard braking on it without losing any kind of confidence. Fourth, great comfort for both the rider and the pillion because you get good amount of space because of the split seat setup. Fifth, the suspension setup is good and tackle all sorts of roads, and really the suspension is tuned really well in this bike. Sixth, it is very much tractable in slower speeds. I mean, you can take the bike at as low as 5 km per hour on second gear, on even third gear, and still there will be no problems. So it is very much tractable and you will enjoy it in the traffic conditions. Now on to the cons. The first con is the engine is still an air-cooled unit and makes near same power and torque figures as of before. We actually expected some better figures because of the BS6 emissions, but still it's okay. Second thing is there are no LED blinkers. They are conventional bulbs. We don't have any complaint regarding that, but at this price you can at least expect an LED blinkers with it. Third, the switchgear quality can be a bit better. I mean, yes, the switchgear is alright, it will work, but the thing is they can be a little bit better, you know. Fourth, there is no gear shift indicator in it and the instrument cluster is pretty small. So finding the neutral is kind of tricky in this. So the gear shift indicator could have been a bigger help. Fifth, more color options are not available. So you only get two color options, that is racing blue and metallic black. I mean, we would like some more colors with it, like at least a red color with it, which would be looking pretty damn good on this bike. Sixth, it lacks a double stand. So yeah, because it has only a single stand, you will find that it will take much more space in the parking location. Now the conclusion, this is the cheapest 250cc bike in the market and you are not skipping that much. You are still getting the reliable engine that Yamaha provides and a comfort for both rider and pillion for long tours, and now also getting the safety. So if you are on a tight budget and want a touring bike that you can rely on, then you can sure have a look at the new FZ.